Hello and welcome. I'm Peggy. And you know, I always look forward to the chance to visit with Dr. Roger Rhoades, and he's here with us today. He is a family therapist, and to me, Roger just makes common sense that we can all understand and grab hold of. And he comes with a positive attitude to help people. And Roger, bless you. Thank you for coming.
Bless you.
And we're going to talk about attitudes today.
Yes.
And if you have a child at home, and maybe they're starting first grade, I mean, it's that time of year, there'll be a new experience with people they don't know in a school, away from the mother and the grandmother and the people they've had. It's a big adjustment. It's a change. But that's life. But having the right attitude, how do you, we've all known people who no matter what happens to them, somehow they're able to rise above it and they smile. And they're able to pray and move on. And we know other people that are just always in the doldrums. And after a while, people don't want to be with them.
That's true. And we go back to an old phrase, Peggy, birds of a feather flock together. And negative people tend to seek out negative people, and positive people do the other. And so probably one of the important things about this program is an attitude check. We hope that people watching this show will do a family attitude check. What is the attitude of our family? What kind of attitude? Not are we spreading to the neighbors or to the church or to the other family members. No. Day to day, getting up, making breakfast, making lunch, making dinner. What kind of attitude are we promoting? You know, are we sitting down and saying, you know, the Rhoades family, we're winners. And we're going to have a winning attitude. Because the number one thing that makes a difference for kids going to school, for young adults starting work, for older adults moving into retirement, is attitude. Your attitude, wow, is one of the biggest factors out there. When people, and as you said when you started the show, how people have an attitude makes all the difference in how they handle things, because what attitude gives you, Peggy, is emotional flexibility. Spiritual and emotional flexibility. And so your ability, you know, life is going to hit you. Oh. You know, I like Scott Peck, who said, life is difficult. He starts the Road Less Traveled book he wrote. And he says that life is difficult, first line of the book. And there it is. But positive people say, okay, it's difficult. We get it, we take the punch, let's move on. Negative people say, hey, we're going to take the punch, and then we're going to talk about it for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And they don't realize what becomes of them is they become their own worst enemy. And a lot of times, families are saying, oh, it's the teacher. Oh, it's the school. Oh, it's the schedule. And as a therapist, I want them to hear, oh, no, it's you. It's how you're raising your children.
How you deal with it. I mean,
yes.
you may have a bad teacher, or you may have a classroom that isn't exactly what you would like it to be, or a job where you have annoying people around you.
And you know what you call that, Peggy? That's life. Yeah. Who doesn't have annoying all of those? That happens to everybody. I'd love to say.
So it's how you work through it.
Yeah, how you handle it. You know, are you resilient? You know, what can you do with a resilient child? And the answer is anything. What can a resilient child become? Anything. They can become anything. They can do anything. You know, because...
And you want to encourage, if you have children, especially little children who are going to be going to grade school for the first
Yes.
time. You want to encourage them to have that kind of an attitude.
Yes, and
This is going to be a great experience.
now we have another phrase: monkey see, monkey do. And so part of this program is about the big monkeys, not the little monkeys, the big monkeys. What are the big monkeys showing you? If the big monkeys are going, I hate this, I hate Sunday school, I hate work, but their kids, they want to say, now have a positive attitude. Well, that little monkey might sit there and go, yes, ma'am, no, sir, and be very polite. But once they leave them, boom, they're going to practice what they see. They're only going to be as good as the environment they come from. So a lot of kids are living in a negative environment, preaching a positive attitude. That doesn't work. Actions speak louder than words. And so when a family lives flexible, lives positive, has a great attitude, turns kind of the frown upside down, that child goes out and has a better chance, Peggy, of success. It's just amazing. When a child has that flexibility, it is amazing how even bad teachers turn out well. Even negative schools, kids get through. That's what's funny. If you read the history, we're in politics now. If you read the history of presidents, so many of them grew up in a terrible situation, but their attitude was amazing. When you look at Abraham Lincoln,
I was thinking about Abraham Lincoln.
Oh my goodness, man! I mean,
he certainly didn't have the childhood that.
Ooh, and if you needed a good reason to be a bum, Abraham Lincoln had it. He had a plenty good reason. But I was reading, I can't remember who the president was, but he in his early years in college, he would study, but there was another guy who made better grades than him. Now, did he focus on the negative? And the answer is no. What he said was, I'm going to wait till that other guy's light goes out, and I'm going to study 2 more hours longer. And what he found out was his grades changed. His attitude changed. And he was incredibly successful to the place where he became president of the United States. It makes a huge difference. And I think it's easy, and it is the lazy way to be negative.
I guess it is.
And it's easy. One of the things it takes no effort to do, Peggy, doesn't take any effort at all, to be a critic. Do you realize you don't even have to break a sweat to say somebody else did it wrong? And you don't know how to do it right, but that doesn't keep you from saying, I don't agree with that, don't like them, wouldn't do it that way. To be a critic. We're promoting people to be critics, and then we're wondering why it's so terrible. Because critics are hard to live with. But if you're with someone who says, we can do it, let's go after it, let's climb that mountain. I'm not saying it's easy, I'm saying it's hard, but we got what it takes. How do you beat that crowd?
And you want to instill that kind of an attitude in your children.
Yes, and it starts like we're talking about today in first grade. That sets the course. That's what's awesome. You can set the course for your child's high school graduation first day of school. First day of school. If you bring that child with a positive attitude and a home life that's positive and a belief that, hey, we're behind you. You can count on it. This family is behind you, and we support you 100%. Get out of the way. That child's graduating. But if they grew up in it, ain't it awful? And it's these people's fault. And we've got this disadvantage, and this doesn't work well. Then they're always looking for an excuse, and they're always critical. Now, it's hard. About the 8th or 9th grade, that child's thinking, No. Be easier just to check out. And so they do. And we've given them that message. That's what I want to share with people. We need to think, don't think that child's too little for that message. Man, we've got a grandchild that's going in the first grade, smarter than a whip. I'm scared. I say some things and I listen to her come back, I'm thinking, I know college people that don't think like that. But I've got to appeal to that. I've got to approach that. And I've got to walk away and say, how was I? What did I bring to the party? What was my attitude? Because I can tell her all day, have a better attitude. You know, whistle while you work. You know, we can watch Disney and go all around that. But that'll blow right past her. It won't matter what Walt Disney thought. It's going to matter, how did her grandfather act? What was her grandfather's attitude? It's going to rise up better than what Walt Disney showed in his movie.
Okay, I have a question. As you said, times can be difficult. Nobody goes through this world. I don't care if you're Queen Elizabeth. Something is going to be wrong.
And
or
one of the things
hurtful.
we're finding is Queen Elizabeth's had it rough.
I mean, how do you, if everything in your life is kind of falling apart,
Right.
And you say, well, have a positive attitude.
Right.
That ain't easy, Roger. When people are suffering, when there are things happening, sometimes you have no control over. And it happens. It's a choice you didn't make.
You just said something. You're doing good. I'm with you until that last piece.
Well,
you
if
don't have
something
any
happens
choice.
to you that you had no control
Right.
over, an automobile accident, something terrible.
Exactly.
And you still say, well, you have to keep smiling.
Right.
People out there are going to say, well, you know, that's kind of ridiculous.
Right. One of the things people are resistant to, Peggy, that is incredibly helpful is schedule. You know, if I say, well, I was in an auto accident, and I hope someday my leg feels better, and I hope someday I'm able to buy a new car, and I'm hoping and wishing. You know, like somebody said, we don't need hoping and wishing, we need a backbone. And you need a schedule. And if you said, well, we're going to put $1 away, and we're going to sacrifice $1 for this, at some point, you're going to have enough for a new car. If I go out and I say, well, I'm not looking to run a mile, but a lot of people that have had negative situations, they get a schedule and they go out and they walk a block. And then the next day, they walk 2 blocks. Mm-hmm. And before you know it, they're running a marathon. And their doctor said, you're never going to walk again. Well, yeah, because the doctor's counting on them not having a schedule and just letting it all fly by. You can't just be laissez-faire. You just can't let it be. You have to schedule. You have to sit down and say, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And our attitude will parallel our schedule.
Okay.
And there's where, you know, a lot of therapists, and people pay big money to talk to therapists, and they're paying for the encouragement to get a schedule.
Okay.
Because once they get a schedule, because there's no magic. There's no such thing as magic. And so this whole idea of magically you're going to have a car accident and things are going to be good, no, it's not going to happen. But if by some chance something negative happened to me, didn't count on it, wasn't looking for it, I was following all the rules of the road, and somebody came out of left field and hit me. Okay, you know what you call that? Life. Mm-hmm. That's life. Okay. So now what do I do? Well, I can sit and go, oh, ain't it awful? This is terrible. And I better call a lawyer. Or I can say, I need to take care of myself. There's things I need to do. I need to watch how I eat. I need to watch how I sleep. I need to watch how I take care of myself. And I need to watch who I hang with.
Okay. We're going to take a quick
Okay.
break, and we'll be right back, so stay with us.